Hi wonderful viewers, it's good to have you again in today's class. Today we are going to be looking at subtraction in number basis. The previous class we did addition in number basis and we did quite some examples which I'm sure you have watched, but in case you have not watched the videos, I'm going to drop the link at the description of this video so that you take your time and watch that video. Today let's look at subtraction in number basis. Look at the first example. The question says 3302 in base 5 minus 1213 in base 5. Now let's look at it. 3302 minus 1213. Let's take note that they are all in base 5. Our usual subtraction, which is in decimal base, that is base 10, we know that when a smaller digit wants to subtract a bigger digit, we simply borrow a number from the next place value. The same thing applies in subtraction in other bases. But this time around, we're going to take note of one point, that when we go to the next place value to borrow a digit, the digit we borrowed will come over to the new place value as the base. What do I mean? Here 2 cannot take away 3, so we go back to the next place value here to borrow. But since we have 0 here and we cannot actually borrow from 0, we go to the next place value to borrow. So we borrow from here and we are left with 2. We bring it over to the next place value as 5. Why? Because we are doing a subtraction in base 5. So here we are going to have 5. Then we borrow from 5. Now we are left with 4. Then that one we borrowed from 5 comes over to the next place value as 5. Now with this in mind, we now have 5 plus 2, which is 7. 7 minus 3, and that gives us 4. So we have 4. Now here we are left with 4. 4 minus 1 is going to give us 3. So we have 3 here. Here we have 2 minus 2, and that is 0. Here we have 3 minus 1, and that is 2. So at the end of the day, we have arrived at 2034 in base 5. That is how simple subtraction in number basis is. But in case it's not very clear, I want you to watch it again, but I'm going to take another example. In the second example, we have solve 11001 in base 2 minus 110 in base 2. We are still going to follow the same approach we used in the first example we just tackled. 11001 minus 110 in base 2. Now we have 1 minus 0 is 1. Now the next place value here is 0, it can't take away 1. We are meant to borrow from this next place value, but since it is still 0, we will still go back to the next place value. So we come over here, we borrow 1 from here, we are left with 0. That 1 comes over to this place value as 2. Why? Because we are doing a subtraction in base 2. So here we have 2. Then we borrow from here, we are left with 1. And that 1 we borrowed here comes over here as 2. So here we have 2 minus 1 is 1. Here we have 1 minus 0 is 0. Here we are left with 0, we'll bring it down. Here we are left with 1, we'll bring it down. So at the end of the day, we have 10011 in base 2. I'm going to take the last example. Don't go out yet, because I want to get every step I am bringing your way in having a solution to subtraction in number basis. Now for the last example we are taking for today, we have find 4001 in base 5 minus 2304 in base 5. Here we have 4001 minus 2304, all in base 5. Now we have 1 minus 4. Since that is not possible, we go over to borrow from the next place value. The next place value is 0, we cannot borrow from there. We move to the next, this is as well 0, we cannot borrow from there. We move to the next place value, which is 4. Now when we borrow 1 from 4, we are left with 3, and that one comes over here as 5. Why? Because we are doing a subtraction in base 5. So we have 5 here, then we borrow from 5, we are left with 4. The 1 we borrowed here comes over here as 5. We also borrow 1 from here, we are left with 4, and that one comes over here as 5. So we have 5, 4, 4, 3. Now 5 plus 1 gives us 6. 6 minus 4 gives us 2. Now we are left with 4. We have 4 minus 0. We have 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. And lastly we have 3 minus 2, which is 1. So at the end of the day we have 1, 1, 4, 2 in base 5. Now if you observe closely at this answer, you will discover that we don't have a digit equal to 5 or greater than 5 in this base. That's the confirmed explanation we gave in the introductory part of number bases, that we cannot have a digit equal to a base or greater than the base in that base. Thank you for watching to the end. I want you to take time and go over this video again. But in case you have a question, the comment section is there. Drop your questions and I'll be there to answer it. And before you go for today's class, I'm going to give you a class task, which I also expect to see your answers at the comment section below, and I'll be there to take care of it. This is your class task for today. I want you to take time and solve this problem, and I'll see you in the comment section below. And in case this is your first time of visiting this channel, I want you to do well to subscribe so as to receive updates. Turn on the bell notification, and I'll see you in the next class.